In today's video, I will be sharing a tutorial on how to create this basket that I recently shared in my Memory Basket project share. And if you missed that video, I'll have that link down below for you. For those items in the basket, there will be a separate video for that, as well as for the acetate flower on the front. I'm Jackie of Jacqs. Let's get started. Since the paper we're going to use has a lot of pattern on it, I'm going to show you how to create this using a white piece of cardstock, and you cut that down to 11 1/4 by 11 1/4. The next thing we're going to do is some scoring. So we're going to score at 3 3/4, 7 1/2. Rotate this one time to the right. We're going to repeat those score marks, and that was 3 1/4 and 7 1/2. The next thing we want to do is take the 4 corners of our paper, and we're going to divide those 2 more times. So in the first top left box, we're going to score at 1 1/4 all the way down to the first score line, and 2 1/2 all the way down to the first score line. For the right hand corner box, we're going to score at 8 3/4 down to the first score line, and then 10 down to the score line. We're going to rotate this 1, 2 times, and that way your lines that we just created will all be down here at the bottom. And we're going to repeat those score lines. So that was 1 1/4 all the way to the score mark, 2 1/2, 8 3/4, and 10. So I just wanted to see if you can see how this looks. So you'll have 3 blocks here, 1 large block, 3 blocks. These will be 3 individual blocks, 3, 1, and 3. Now that we have everything scored, the next thing we're going to do is for the middle box of the top and bottom, we're going to find the center and make a little tick mark. So I'm just using my Tim Holtz ruler here, finding the center. The full box measures 3 3/4, so you want to find the center of that, and that is 1 7/8 in from the score line. Okay, so you're going to do that on both sides. It will look like this here, 1 7/8 in, and then make a mark on both center blocks. Now that we have the center figured out, we're going to draw like an upside down V. If you have the dot facing at the top, we're going to go, again, we're working with the center block at the top of the page. From the score line in, the corner here, we're going to make a line all the way down diagonal to our point. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So it's like an upside down V. So it looks like this. I had to do that one twice, but that gives you an idea of what it looks like. And then we turn it around and do the same thing where our other point is. Find the intersecting score line here, the corner. And then draw a straight line up to our tick mark. The next thing we want to do is cut down on all of our score lines that we have, and we're going to cut all the way to the first score line going across the page. So you're going to cut from the edge here to here, here to here, and you're going to repeat that all the way across. Now you could certainly do that using your scissors, or I'm going to try using my cutter. I did that before and it worked out really well. This is a Cricut cutting board. So I'm just lining up the score line here with the center mark of the cutting board. And then this actually has lines on it, so you can line it up to where the score line is going across the page. It's really nice. Perfect. So your paper will look like that once you get all these straight lines cut on both sides, the top and the bottom. The next thing we're going to do is cut out triangles on the center blocks that we've been working on as well. So from this pencil mark here, we're going to cut straight up to the corner on both sides. We created the lines there to give you a guide for cutting. Now you could put this in your cutting board as well, but I wanted to show you this by hand. I'm just going straight up to the point there. You're cutting out the black. See? So that's how it will look when we're done cutting that out. I'm going to do this other side. And here's what it will look like when we're done. Now that we have everything scored and cut, if there are any pencil marks, go ahead and erase those and then burnish everything. You can burnish before you do the cuts, if it's easier for you. The next thing we're going to do is start putting the basket together. Since we had everything scored, cut, and burnished, I went ahead and decorated my cardstock, and I'm using Ireland Forever, and this is a Country Craft Creation paper collection, and it is only available on her website. I will have this link down below. So I used the paper that looked kind of like wood and put that on the inside. And then on the outside, I added the wood in the center because this is the bottom and the sides. And then I added some of the floral, music, and gold paper here on the outside pieces. Now to mat this, these measure 1 1/4 by 3 3/4 for all of these cut pieces here. The center box is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I would recommend matting the box and then doing your triangle cut. I think it's just easier. And that's it. It was pretty easy to mat. So at this point, we're at a stage where we can start putting everything together. Since I modified the measurements, I'm going to do this a little bit different than you might see it done somewhere else. Normally, you would start with the 2 inside pieces, and then you would work your way into the next set, and then the final set would come together. I've decided to not do that, and I'm going to start with the outer pieces. Now, what I also did was I took my pencil, I measured in 1 5/8 inch on both sides, because that is going to be how far I want to overlap the two outer pieces. Now, I must say that you can, if you have very sturdy decorative pattern paper that is like cardstock, you could use that to make your basket. You don't have to use a cardstock and then mat it. I'm just doing it that way because I want mine to be extra sturdy. So when you do mat it, you want to probably do a look ahead of time to figure out how you want your pieces woven together. Now, because this has my greenery on one side and this golden color on the other side, I'm going to put these in the back because I want the greenery to show on the outside more than this one. So I'm going to put this on the back side, and then I'll be adding those two together, overlapping them like this. Now I have my 1 5/8 mark right there. So I'm going to add my adhesive. I'm going to bring my other piece up, and we're going to put these straight across. So I'm looking for my little mark and lining those up like that, and then pressing. And I'm going to hold it here a moment just so it can grab. Now let's do the other side as well. On this side, I'm going to put this up front. Okay. I've kind of warped my paper there. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to add my adhesive and get these lined up. It's kind of hard to show you guys. Hope you get what I'm saying. Because I'm twisting that a bit to show you, it's moving my paper. Okay, so you line those up, and there we have the top part of the box. Now I'm just going to show you what this is going to look like so you can get a better idea of where I'm going. So I would put this one in the back, this one goes over it, then the next one, and then this one, and then this goes down over all of them. And you get this kind of, it's a little bit of a weaving effect, I guess. I really like how that looks. So this is the final way that we want it to look. An easy way to get it like that would be to go ahead, take a pencil, run it where you see the bottom piece showing, and make marks. And then we're going to cut those before we actually glue anything down. Now, I mean, originally I could tell you to glue these two pieces together, and then the next set and this set, but there's going to be pieces that we would need to cut off. So I think that would be the best way to do it. So that's what I'm going to do now, is go ahead and cut where I made those marks. This way you really get the best fit for your basket. And then, oh, there was a mark right here, but we already have that glued down, so I'm not going to worry about that one. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and ink those spots. I've been using vintage photo on all of these. Okay. Now we can start to glue. So I'm going to add right here. And make sure those, because we had that cut there, you want to line this one up at the top of that cut. Don't worry about this hanging out. We're going to cut that off later. Okay, now for the last one, we bring this piece up and we match this one to the top of where we cut that, and we'll glue that down. Now that the front's glued, I'm going to add adhesive to the back side and glue that all the way down. And the last thing we would do is to pull this piece up, and then it gets glued down over top of all of them. So I think the best way to do this is add your adhesive to the triangle piece. And there's how it looks. Now we have a little tip here. We're just going to take our scissors and cut that off. Okay, so let's start again. We're going to bring our piece in the back that we want in the back, the more decorative piece in the front, our next one, and then the triangle. Now this is just to look and see how it looks. And now I'm going to make my marks. Open these up and do your cuts. Alrighty, now let's line these up. I'm going to add our adhesive here. Make sure the top of this one lines up with the side of this. Okay? Like that. And then we can glue that down on the back side. Let's do our next one. So this one just crosses over. I think I'll just add a little bit of adhesive right there. That one's going to cross over there. Yep, everything looks good, nothing's showing. And then I kind of come up a little bit off on the triangle to adhere it because there is a hole down there. And this is our box or basket structure. That's so cute. Here's our sides and the back. Now I could try to tell you particular ways to crisscross these little flaps, but if you don't do exactly 1 5/8, it'll be different. Or if you do less or you do more, it all depends on how you put it together. So that's why I didn't want to tell you particularly which ways to crisscross it. I think this gives you more leeway on how to put it together. It also ensures that the flaps are flat and that you don't have any bowing or extra spaces between there. So I am really liking how that turned out. I was going to try and add a piece in here to cover that. I'll see if I can figure out that measurement and then I'll let you know. Bring these up to match each other. So it looks like this. And then we'll do the next one. And these will not match perfectly. So you're just going to match the points. So wherever the points meet, that's where you want to glue it. And when you're doing this, don't pull the sides in too far or you're going to buckle your basket. For the next two outer pieces, what we're going to do is adhere them here in the center, and it's going to go straight across. So it won't be at an angle, it'll be straight across. To cut out a pattern for the inside of our basket, what I've done is place this down on my pattern paper. I took my pencil and I traced around it, and then I cut out the shape. And then what I would do was just stick this in here, see if it fits right, and if it doesn't, then I just trimmed along the edge and then did my inking. So now I'm ready to add this. Now what I've found is right here where all the pieces come together, I have to hold that so that it catches the glue. But otherwise, it fits in there really well. So when my basket's sitting like this toward me, if it was empty, I would see the nice floral right there. And if there's any overage on the top, then you just cut that off. And then just ink it. Now, of course, after we added the inside pieces, I thought that we shouldn't have. If you're going to add a handle to this basket, I mean, you could use this as like a bowl as it is. If you're going to add a handle though for the basket, you may want to wait to add the inside piece till after you adhere that. Now I didn't, so I'm just going to live with that. But I would suggest kind of putting that on first. So for the handle, what I've done is cut out one strip of 12 by 1 inch piece of the decorative cardstock. It's the Bristol paper for the Ireland Forever. And then I added it on to some ribbon, and I got this from Hobby Lobby several years ago. But I just love the scallops edge that it gives. Now when I was going to do this, I was actually going to adhere it this direction where the paper was showing and the lace was peeking out. But I adhered it. I put the side that I wanted up down, and while this side looks fine, it's not the side I wanted. So then I tried it this way with the ribbon on the outside, and I'm thinking I like that better because I'm actually going to add the same ribbon around the basket, and I think that's going to look adorable. So here's the ribbon, just to kind of give a visual. I'm thinking about cutting this top part off so there's not too much of the ribbon there. So it would be something like this. Let's put that in there for a sec. Yeah, I think that's kind of cute. It looks like a liner that's hanging out over the sides of the basket. Yeah, so that's what I've decided to do. put the ribbon on the outside. What will still be neat is that at certain views, you can see the inside paper. So I'm loving that still. To adhere this, what we need to do is put some holes on the sides of our basket. Now, the way that this came out, these points really are not in the center of my basket. I don't know why. Maybe I pulled one side out further than the other. That would explain it. So I would definitely make sure that your lines are in alignment, that you've pulled the same amount on each side. But really, it doesn't matter, because you know why? We're covering it. So what I've done is use my Tim Holtz ruler. So I've gone ahead and made a mark on each side, and I'm going to use my We Are Memory Keepers Big Chomper Crocodile here, and put the holes in it. I tried to do it with a 1/8 inch hole punch, and I wasn't strong enough to get it through. I mean, we're going through several layers right there in that one piece. So I'm going to try and do it this way. Now, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. I might almost have to hold it. This ought to be interesting. Okay, so I have it on the 1/8 inch. Where does it come out? Okay. And where's my mark? Is right there. Yeah, I'm going to actually have to hold this. Unless I can do it on the edge of the table. I think I'll try that. So I'm just going to come back with the holes because I really don't want to ruin this. Okay, that worked out really well. So what I did was I took this where the feet was right here at the edge of my table. And so this hung out enough to where I could get my box in there and punch the hole out. The next thing we need to do is adhere the handle. And I'm going to just use some brads. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere the brads first and then put my ribbon around it so that it camouflages that. I was going to use a decorative brad, but I don't really like the way it looked, so I'm just going to do that. Put this on first and then the ribbon. So for the handle, I probably want to go down or go up about 3/4 of an inch. Something like that. So put a hole there for the brad. I'm just going to guess here. Oh, I should have done them both at the same time. So I'm going up about 1/2 inch. Okay, let's see, we'll match these up. Yeah, and then it gives you about 3/4 of an inch all together. I don't know if my brads are long enough. They look kind of small. I'm gonna look for some longer ones. I'll be right back. Okay, I found some longer ones here. Oh, these have little decorative end. All right, well, for right now, I'm going to do this just so I can show you. Now, I'm putting the handle on the inside. Again, you could put that on the outside if that's your preference. When you add these, I would definitely put the brad in. I would add adhesive around the hole and on your strip here. So that it holds well, and then just close it or open the little arms there and close them. Oh, what did I do? I did it on the outside. All right, I'm thinking ahead of myself here. And that's what it would look like right there. And then we'll be adding our ribbon over it. See, I'm going to add my ribbon and then put that back on, but for now I wanted to show you. So that's what I'm going to do. Put that on. I think I am just going to fold this over to be on the inside, as well. But I wanted to show you how to get the handle on. So at this stage, what you can do is decorate this the way that you feel like decorating it. And then I'm going to be making some special things to put on the inside here. And when I do, I'll be coming back to share that with you. But you could put, you know, floral in here, all kinds of stuff. But that is the basket as we have it right now. I'll come back with it decorated and with my little goodies.